Hi gamers and developers, and welcome to another GTT vlog. Today's vlog is about NaNoRenO 2023, and I have two members of the team here. So we're gonna talk about it for a little bit. And if you don't know this jam, this is an annual month-long jam in which the game developers are challenged to make a visual novel from start to finish. So if I'm not mistaken, this was in March until April. And of course, like I mentioned, the jam lasted 1 month. The game we have today is Too Small to Matter, and I'm gonna let them present the game. But first, can you tell me your names and what role you had during this jam?
So, my name is Rita, and I was an artist during the jam.
My name is André Antunes, and I was the narrator, the writer, and one of the programmers.
Yeah, and they had more 3 team members, which are not here, of course, but those 3 team members were Diogo Pires, who worked as a programmer, and Beatriz Azevedo and Gonçalo Gallo, who worked as artists alongside Rita. So, about the game, can you tell us a little bit about your game?
Yes, we can tell. Basically, it's a visual novel, so it's about, the narrative is about a couple of animals that are caught in the middle of a war, of a human war, of course, and they basically try to survive all the endeavors that they find and try to reach a certain enchanted valley that supposedly is safe for them and the war doesn't reach there. And we have 2 components in our game. We have one component of a narrative, like a visual novel, so there are characters, there are choices, and there are dialogue. And then we have another component that we decided to implement, which is more mechanical focus, or more gameplay focus, and basically is a side scroller. If it's side scroll that we control them in the river, and we have to basically avoid obstacles and use some powers to progress.
Okay, very interesting. So this jam didn't have a theme, if I'm not mistaken, and sometimes that can be quite difficult for people to create an idea to make the game. So how did you guys come up with the idea for the game?
We basically just discussed some ideas we had amongst ourselves. In the end, we agreed on sorry, idea, and we thought it was a good idea, and I think it turned out great. So yeah, basically we just brainstormed and
yeah,
we just did it.
It's a very whimsical idea, which I love. And it's very cute, so you guys should check it out at the end of this vlog, of course. So you had 1 month, and that's a long time. So what was your strategy to develop in that time?
Yeah, normally jams of 1 month to month have a quite challenging obstacle, which is normally to keep determination in a high mode. So we try basically in the beginning, in the first 2 weeks, to meet like once, twice per week. So for me to adjust our methodology and our time that we had to spend on the jam. And then later on the last 2 weeks, and mainly the last week, we basically worked daily. We meet daily, and we made daily progress. So basically, I think that was it.
Yeah, in the first 2 weeks, we were discussing the narrative, how we were doing everything, what we were going to do in terms of the art, who was going to design the characters, who was going to design the background, and things like that. And I think that really helped us go a long way.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned, because we've talked about that here before in the vlogs, but 1 month is a long time and people tend to get a bit lazy, so I'm glad that you guys made it. And I'm glad that you strategized it correctly. And I'm gonna ask this one for you, André, because you have 2 roles in this case. So did you alternate between programming and writing, or did you do it at the same time?
Yeah, basically the programming team was me and Diogo. And initially we had the idea of making that gameplay, that mechanical part of the game, besides the visual novel. I think the only constraint they gave on the jam side was that it had to be mainly a visual novel, so they didn't words. We could make more gameplay like. So initially Diogo was making the visual novel implementation. implementation on Unity, because we decided to go with Unity instead of RenPy. We have that possibility to make that.
To make anything more, yeah.
And he was making that with Ink, and he talked with you about that incorporation. And I was writing mainly the narrative. Then, at the middle of the jam, we understood that we had made quite a lot of progress, and we had time to implement the other side. So I went for the programming side on the mechanical part of the game.
Okay. That is also a good strategy. And I'm glad that you wanted to make that shift between visual novel, because in my opinion sometimes they can get a bit boring. But that's just me. Of course, there's a lot of people who love visual novels, but I like that you made the both sides of the game. Okay, so on to the jam itself. What did you learn out through the jam?
In my case, it was working with watercolors in the digital form. I already had some experience with watercolors in the traditional form, but never tried out with digital. And we discussed it. We wanted something a little bit more aesthetic in terms of textures and things like that. So I really learned a lot.
Yeah, and it gives that whimsical feeling that I was talking about. What about you, Andre?
I basically learned a bit about because when we make visual novels and when we make the narrative, when we have choices in the game, the most challenging part is to basically organize every little ramification of the story in a good way. We normally use Miro for that in our jam, for example, in the Nordic jam. Winter jam, yeah, exactly. And this time I tried one which is called Draw.io. Which is a bit more faster to implement
graphical
things, and help me a bit, because there's a lot of choices in this game, and sometimes it gets a bit confusing in which narrative are we right now.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I'm not gonna add anything more to that. So, would you have done anything different in your game?
I don't really think so, at least in my part. Maybe I would have done more sketches so we could decide on what really was the team was thinking of. But other than that, nothing really comes to mind. So
I'm glad. Okay, so you're quite happy about your game, and I'm happy about that. So now it comes the negative question. Were there any worst moments during the jam?
I wouldn't say there was a worst moment, but there was a funny one, which is at the end of the jam. Basically, that was 1 month jam. It started at April, and in March, and we thought that it would end in 1st of April. But then I went to the page, at the HIO page, and they said that ended at the 3rd of April. So we thought, well, extra 2 days to work, fine.
Yeah.
And we started working, and then on the 3rd of April, basically, I was going to make the submission, and I looked there, and it said that the last 2 days were only for internet problems, so we couldn't implement anything. So basically, that was the worst part of the jam.
Okay, so how did you solve that?
We didn't solve it. I think the NaNoRenO jam is a very chill jam. There's no ranking, there's nothing, so basically we submitted the last version at the 3rd of April, and we
okay, so yeah, I agree with you. It's not a very bad moment, but yeah. So the positive question now, which I love, what were the best moments during the jam?
I think it was when we were working together, because that really motivates us. And exchanging ideas is a lot of fun, so I think those were the best moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had one cool moment. Which we were on Discord on the channel, and we basically started playing games like Arctic Phone together. So
yeah, I saw that.
That was really cool.
Okay, so this was before you delivered the game, right? Okay, so it was like a gathering between yourselves. So okay, that's nice. That's something that maybe everyone should do more often. Of course, not every jam is as big as this one, but yeah. So, regards on to the jam itself. What are your thoughts on the jam?
I think, as it was mentioned before, I think it was a really chill jam. And sometimes it's really hard to go through a month working on something. But I think since it was really chill and we had things planned out and organized, I think it was, at least I had a lot of fun. So, so I think it was really chill, and I'll probably do it again.
Yeah, I think that's this gem for a group that doesn't have quite the idea what they want to do, or has a lack of determination to work. It's not quite a good gem because there's no ranking, no theme, no nothing. But if you're a group that already know what they want and are determined to work, it works really well. That's what happened with that.
Yeah, actually, on that matter, this is a question that's quite polarizing because some people like it, other people don't like it. What are your thoughts on the rank system? Would you like to have been ranked, or do you prefer the system of just delivering a game and have other people comment and play it?
Personally, I think I like it without the ranking, because I think it doesn't put as much pressure, and I think people just have fun creating stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. What about you, Andre?
Yeah, I think it depends on the gem. I think both formats are cool for their reasons. So in this case, when there's a narrative heavy based game, when it's a month-long game, I think that the ranking system doesn't have anything to the gem. But when it's like 1 week or for example Global Game Jam, when there's a bit of ranking, there's a bit of talking about the games at the end, it also adds something else. So I think the two have their good sides and their bad sides.
I agree with you. So this one is more personal for you guys because of course this was a different gem. So what was it like to work on a visual novel? It's not that that common of a genre, I guess.
Okay. I was actually really excited because I've always wanted to work on a visual novel. So the instant I saw there was the opportunity, I just took it. So it was really fun. And I think everyone on the team was like, I really want to work on this.
Okay.
Yeah, I like visual novels. The last one I went, so it became a project. So I think the visual novels have a very good side of it for writers in GameDev Técnico, because there's not much space for me to write when there's a gem for 1 week or 2 weeks. So basically, NaNoRenO gems and visual novel gems are really good for writers to get their work flowing and to put on paper some ideas that they might have, which this was the case. So
and work on a narrative, which sometimes kind of looks, it goes overlooked because a game with only 2 days to make, of course you cannot do a very extended narrative, so I agree that it's very nice. So, do you want to keep developing the game?
Yeah, we actually already talked about it and we are going to keep developing.
Do you want to give some plans for the future of this game, or do you want to keep it disclosed?
We can share. It's not like we are not adding anything to what we envisioned. Basically, the game was a bit long, of course. The narrative is a bit long, and there's some chapters that we haven't finished, the art part and the narrative part. So basically, we want to finish that and make the whole game
more
a
polished.
bit more polished.
Okay, so you guys back at home already know that you can wait for this game to be great. It's already great, but it's gonna be greater, so keep updated for that. My final question for you guys, and this is the best one, do you have any advice for the viewers?
Go on.
I think the advice, one good advice normally is we're talking about the moment that we had and played Garden Fun on Discord. I think it's important that when we go to a jam and when we develop games, we do it because we like it. So if somebody in your group and you understand that they are not liking it, they are spending a bad moment, so they are not motivated, try to take it a bit of time, even if it's a 48-hour jam or a 1 week jam, try to take a bit of time to keep everyone motivated and everyone happy what they're doing, and that will make everything easy.
A very unique advice, but I agree completely with it. Mainly because this was such a long jam. So yeah. What about you?
I would say I do agree. And I think it is great for team building. That's also a really important part of producing games and things like that. So yeah. Other than that, I would say to keep things organized, because sometimes, as it was mentioned before, this was a really long jam, so sometimes we just get a little bit lazy and things at the end of and the last week is like super chaotic because we just procrastinated. So
Yeah.
be organized.
Two very nice advice. I agree with both of them, of course. So yeah, take this advice and kids back at home because it's very important. And thank you for watching, thank you for coming, and of course, as always, keep updated on our social networks, watch our other vlogs, watch our other videos on our YouTube, and keep developing. Bye!